Mr. Dunlop.
Thank you very much, Judge. Good morning,
Good morning.
Good
ladies
Morning.
morning.
and gentlemen. My name is Stacy Dunlop. Do either of you recognize me? That perhaps a church or being the same member of a group or any of that? Neighbors? No?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I do.
Oh, yes. And where do you recognize me from?
I actually was sitting in a trial one time when you were an amicus attorney.
Oh, okay. So the only way that you recognize me is from me having seen me in court on a trial, on another trial.
That was basically it. Yes.
Okay, good. So then in that capacity, then your involvement or your knowledge of me doesn't pose a problem because you just were seeing me in action. Uh,
Right.
what Miss Street was indicating, this is really our only time to really get to converse with you guys and get to know you and to find out if there are any issues that may make it be problematic for you to be on the on the jury. So that's one of the reasons I ask you, do you know me or have any of you recognize me, is to find out if there is a conflict. Uh, that's one of the bases for that question. Um, but this is a case relating to the termination of parental rights. And how many of you, by show of your hands, are parents? Okay. All right. Thank you. So, uh, Mr. Blackman, how many children do you have?
I have one son. He's now an adult.
Oh, okay. So,
I
um,
look so young.
oh, well, good. You say he's an adult now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you um, aware of, uh, or do you have any belief that there is a perfect parent?
I do believe that there is no such thing as a perfect parent.
And if you don't mind, share with me why you believe that there is no such thing as a perfect parent.
Because I don't believe they're perfect people. Um, I think that we all have our faults, we all have our shortcomings, we all have our failings as humans, as individuals. And I think that that permeates every aspect of our life in one form or another, whether it's with our employment or whether it's in our family life or whether it's our interpersonal relationships. I think all of those things are open to the errors and the um, what's the word shortcomings of just being a human.
Okay, thank you. I like that. And I was hoping that would be the basis that no one can be a perfect parent because no one can be perfect. While we may strive for perfection, we know that there's never a time when we'll be able to spike the football in the end zone and say perfection achieved
Yes, sir.
because we're human and we're human. And the very definition of being human is meaning that we won't be perfect and that we will make mistakes. And I represent the parents in this case. And as you were just saying, Mr. Blackman, no one, no one is perfect. That includes my clients. They're parents, and they love and care for their children, and that's why they're here. Um, but yes, like all of us, they have made some mistakes. Mr. Morgan,
Yes.
uh, how many children do you have?
I have three.
Okay. And if you don't mind sharing with us, what are their ages?
They're in their 20s through 30s.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you raised them up all the way through their childhood too?
Yes.
Good. And what what challenges did you have raising them through their childhood? What challenges did you have relating to uh, your your um, your evolution as a parent from the very first one, and then seeing them move through school and graduate and become adults? What?
So, are you referring to parent-child issues? Are you referring to me as a father evolving through that process? What exactly do you mean by that question?
What I'm hoping you're doing is just perhaps talk to us about how your role, how you viewed and perceive your role as father, and how it may have evolved or changed as your children got older.
Sure. Well, our children, I looked at my role as a father as being a person who's supposed to help guide my children through life. I'm supposed to be a protector of them, supposed to love them to the best degree that I can. I'm supposed to reflect God to them. As the former person just said, that does not mean everybody's perfect or anybody's perfect. But we do try to model a good example. You can be a good parent without being a perfect parent. And one of the big things was in my heart was that I wanted to make sure that my children knew the difference between right and wrong. To the degree that I could, I wanted to model that for them as well. Um, there's always times that you look back at your parenthood and you say, today we have people that say, well, almost like you have to be a super father or super mother to be a good parent. I don't believe that. I believe that there are parents who work hard 80, 100 hours, and they're doing the best that they can do. They're not necessarily privileged. And I say that because, I was in the military and I was involuntarily separated from my children for a time due to the orders of our military and our government. And then after the military, I was going to school. So I was going to graduate school, undergraduate school at the same time, and I was working two jobs. And so that became very long, long weeks, as you can imagine. I mean, if you're working and studying, 110 hours a week, and you get home and all you want to do is crash.
Yeah.
You do what you can, but it's a duty as a father, from my perspective, to make sure that your children have a household to live in, and that they know they have a father that loves them. And that does not always mean that a father will pander to them or cater to them, but a father has to provide guidance for them as well.
Okay. I love that answer. Thank you for sharing that. Miss Walker,
Yes,
how many children do you have?
I have five.
Five. Wow. Okay. uh, and you look so young. I wouldn't have
Not all
expected
of
that.
them are mine. Not all of
Oh,
them are mine. I
oh,
personally gave birth to two.
oh, I see.
Yes.
Now, if you, how do you view the right, the rights that you have as a parent to your children? How do you understand? What do you understand those rights to be?
Well, I take the adage of if I'm providing clothing, shelter, and food, and my name is on the deed, then you need to listen to the rules that are set by the adults in the home.
Hmm. Okay. These the right to vote. We
Yes.
do you hold that right dear to your heart, or you do you,
Yes,
are
I do.
you
Yes,
okay?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Your right to um, go to the park and take a stroll with your dog and sit down at the bench and bird watch, and just do that just because that's what you want to do. That freedom that you would have. Do you
Yes.
hold that right to dear to your heart?
Yes, I do.
The right to be able to decide where you have your children um, go to school. Do you hold that right close to your heart?
I do, with some consideration of the entire family. I don't look at it as just, it's just for me to make that decision. It should be an effort.
Mm,
So I try to operate in that space of
gotcha.
considering everybody.
And when you say your family, you don't include the state of Texas in the family, do you?
No,
No.
no, sorry.
And do you want the state of Texas being able to tell you where you can, where you have to send your child to school?
No, it's enough that they're telling me I got to send them to school.
Okay,
That's a
right.
conversation I have with my young. Learning the difference between what you can control and what you can't control.
That's right. What about even just to see your children? You have the right to see them, to be around them. Do you cherish that right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And what CPS is trying to do is cease all of those rights for my clients. And I've run out of time for right now. I'll yield the floor, and I'll be hearing. You'll be hearing back from me in a moment.
Thank you, Mr. Dunlop, for those introductory remarks. And now.